Hey there, it's Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. April was a long month. You might have noticed that I barely posted any videos in April. It's because I was busy having a mental breakdown. What were you doing in April? In all seriousness, I'm okay, and you know, my mental health is just existing. So, I'm back. Here's my wrap up for April. So for audiobooks this month, I decided that I wanted to reread a trilogy that I love. Mostly because rereading is great when you're having a bit of a shit time, so, you know, that helped. Anyway, I decided to reread Red Rising, Iron Gold, and Morningstar because I love this series. It's a sci-fi series that's dystopian, basically based on a caste system, and there's a lot of war in it, and I like a bit of war. I'm just going to hold up the first one because holding 3 books up in these tiny little child hands is just difficult. This is one of my favourite series of all time, and I kind of wanted to reread it because I want to pick up the next series. I know Dark Age is coming out soon, so I need to read Iron Gold because I've been putting that off. The problem with this series for me is that it ends just so perfectly, and I'm like, do I want to go back in and then have strife for my main characters who just sort of were okay? Like the ones that were left at the end, and I was okay with that. Do I want to go back into it? Of course I want to go back into it because it's just going to be good. So this was my purpose in rereading these. It's actually the first time I've reread Golden Sun and Morningstar, and I love them just as much the second time as I did the first time. It was nice not to be like completely shocked like I was the first time, because the end of Golden Sun hit me the first time, but you know, I'm better now. Then I started to pick up books for my Gifted Books project, and I've been reading these all throughout the month. The first book on that list was Sleeper 13 by Rob Sinclair. I have posted a mini review of this, so it exists on my channel. This book is about a guy called Aiden, who is also known as Number 13. From a young age, he was taken by terrorists and trained to become an elite jihadi warrior, and this book is about him going rogue in a sort of Born Identity kind of way. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I liked it. Very convenient, but I still enjoyed it, and I'm definitely picking up the second one because I want to know what happens. There are still like a lot of loose ends going on with this, so I'm definitely intrigued by the next one. The next book that I picked up was Copycat by Alex Lake. There's also a mini review of this one, so you know, go search that out if you'd like. This book has a sort of single white female vibe to it, in which the main character finds a Facebook profile of her with very intimate details of her life on it that is basically not done by her. And then a lot of things start to happen that don't really present her in a very nice light, and people start to turn against her, and it is obvious that there is another character who is starting to try and ruin her life, basically. I would put out a warning here that this book does have suspicions of the main character having bipolar disorder. She doesn't have bipolar disorder, spoiler, but I think that is made obvious in the book. The way that it's dealt with, though, I'm not particularly happy with. I do go into that more in my mini review, so if you want to know more about that, please check that out. The next book that I picked up was Before Evil by Alex Carver. This book follows Special Agent Maggie Odell, who is a criminal profiler, and she goes on her first case of, you know, serial killings. There's a lot of body parts turning up in places. Honestly, for me, this book was probably, I think I marked this one as a 3 out of 5 stars, because rather than like a really, really interesting book, it felt a little bit to me like an episode of a TV show. So you only got an hour to catch this killer in this TV show, so everything happens really quickly, and people sort of jump to conclusions quite quickly. And I will say that this book does suffer from that age-old thing where the killer is then fascinated by the agent that is stalking them. And that is a bit of a repetitive trope, so it didn't exactly thrill me. It was an alright read though. I quite enjoyed the killings. Like, that sounds weird, I don't mean it like that. But I enjoyed the main storyline. It just isn't fantastic. And the last book that I read in April was What Are You Afraid Of by Alexandra Ivy. This book follows a main character who's written a book on serial killers, and she's become famous because of this. And then she receives some photographs of a dead woman that weren't included in her book. At first she suspects that it's been sent by one of the people that she interviewed, but then she starts to realise that that person couldn't have sent her the picture. And this book is basically about her trying to figure out who sent her these pictures, what they want, and why they've sent it to her. My main frustration with this book is that it was the just most insta-love I have ever read, ever. Like, okay, so these two main characters, they have a past. They apparently got together when she was trying to interview this guy who is a rich man who's into like really high-tech surveillance, so a very useful man to know, I guess, in this sort of scenario. But then she didn't actually tell him her real name, and then they meet again and she's trying to convince him to help her because she's, being stalked, and he's like, I don't want to, but then he's like, I must protect her, and she's like, I love you, and then like, they're inseparable, and it's so weird, just how they talk about it. It's so odd. I just don't understand insta-love. It just baffles me. They like just go from being really normal to like, boom, instant love. Forever, must marry you, must be together forever, let's move into each other's houses. And I just, I don't know. The really annoying thing about this is that that's what I'm talking about right now, rather than the plotline, which was quite interesting. There's a whole, like, family sideline to this that was, I was intrigued by. And the main sort of way that this is structured, and the killer's very interesting as well. Just, all I can think about is the insta-love, because it jarred me so much, because it was so weird. And yeah, that's my main gripe with this one. I actually gave it 3 out of 5 stars, in case you're wondering, because I did like the overall plotline, but that insta-love though. So there we have it. Those are the books that I read in April. Not too bad. I think I made it to 7 books this month, so considering the trashy mental health month that I had, it's actually alright. I'll take it. It's fine. Sorry if this video was really weird. I'm like, just drank like 2 cups of coffee and now I'm like, so, caffeine. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!